It's being recorded.
Hello, everybody. So it is 1:51 a.m. right now. Okay. And I had to make this video because there is an endless string of bullshit and nonsense and creature behavior from these demonic entities they called men. Okay. There is an endless creature behavior. And I heard something that made me have to get up here. I mean, it's not really that it made me want to talk about it, but it made me want you all to desperately see for yourself that I'm correct in every way. In every granular way, I have been correct. I started piecing things together some years ago. And every time I said, let me check, let me verify this, and let me verify that, and let me verify this, and let me verify that. And I said to myself, if I'm correct, everything should point to the same thing, because that is simply how biology works. Yeah? That's simply how biology works. If I am correct, everything will point to the same thing. And if I am wrong, they will point to not the same thing. Or, excuse me, they would point to a different thing, but they will point to that same thing, right? They will all be pointing to the same thing, but it will be different completely. It will be completely different from what from what I'm talking about, right? That's because that's simply how biology works. And they just wouldn't stop pointing to the shit that I keep saying. I pieced all of this together. So if you're looking for some peer review evidence, you're not going to find it because the males have spent literally their entire lives, all of known history, and God knows however long they have existed, in hiding the truth, right? But the truth always finds a way to come out. So that's why I had to figure all of this out. I had to put all the signs together to arrive at the conclusions that I did. I had to put all the clues together. And one of the things that I was able to piece together was that these males are nothing but our predator, and we are the prey. They are not our species at all, because a species cannot prey on itself as per biological design. And the reason for that design is because this singular mandate for every single organism is to survive. And every single biological process, every single biological reaction, every single biological engagement is for this very purpose. They are all aimed at this exact singular purpose. So it would be fucking stupid if you prey on yourself. It wouldn't be just stupid. It would be so abjectly stupid. Right? It is like, let's say, take the number of 1,000,000,000,000 and then multiply it by 1,000,000,000,000 and then multiply that by 1,000,000,000,000 and then repeat that for another 1,000,000,000,000. Yeah. That is the order of magnitude. How stupid that would be for you, for your species, for your kind to prey on itself. That would be how stupid that would be. You go to work and you forget your lunch at home. You are working on the order of magnitude of one stupid. For you to prey on your own species, you are on an order of magnitude by biological design of trillions and trillions and trillions. The magnitude of which has not even been put to words yet, has not been numbered yet. That is the order of magnitude of stupid that would be. That biology is such a thing that it is to that order of magnitude, that same order of magnitude. Genius. Did you hear that? Biological design is so genius, it is to that level of magnitude genius. So that means that the difference between that genius and that stupid, right, is basically double, which means that it is so far apart for biology to do this thing of a predator and a prey in the same species. It's double. But on trillions, it's double that order of magnitude times 2 now. Because let me tell you the genius of genes, okay? You have your skin, yeah? You have your skin, you have your eyes, you have your lashes, you have liver, you have heart, you have you have muscles, you have skeleton. And every single one of those things, every single one of those things is operating 100% autonomously 24/7. Let me repeat that. Every single cell in your body, the trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of cells in an adult human are all operating entirely autonomously 24/7. 24/7. They are renewing. They're sending food. They're sending simple sugars. They're obtaining vitamins. And they're doing that on the level of cells of in the number of multiple, if not a trillion of a trillion of a trillion times a trillion. They are doing all of that. And they're doing it for decades and decades and decades and decades and decades and decades. You have to be on a serious level of genius to do all of that. Oh, and not only that, it's doing that for every singular organism. Did you get that? Did you get that? It is doing that for every single organism. Yeah. The genius of genes is unmatched. The genius of genes is unmatched. Yeah. Yeah. And the stupid of putting prey and predator together is also unmatched except by genes themselves. See? That's what they want you to believe. Your genius genes did. That is what they want you to believe. Your genius genes, your godlike genes, that's what that thing did. You wouldn't even do this shit. You would not do that. If you hear somebody's a predator, you run the other way and you are on one level of magnitude smart. When you hear someone is a predator, you go the other way. You would not mix yourself with somebody who is preying on your kind, and you are on one magnitude of smart. But they want you to believe that your genes paired you with predators to mate with. That is violently impossible. But you still won't take my word for it, right? Because the truth has been chased out of us, out of our consciousness a long time ago. So I want you to hear this man on the right talk about this shit himself.
Sex, it's about such and such and such and such. No, because we're just trying to fuck. Now we got two women in the house.
20, 30, 40 inch bust down with the part to love makeup and lashes and weaves and wigs. We love all that shit.
And because women care about relationships, the first thing you're going to say is, well, if you're going to sleep with her, why fucking world? And because women care about relationships, the first thing you're going to say is, well, if you're going to sleep with her, why you just don't be with her? And what he going to say? Can you guess? Can you guess? I tell you, bitch. He going to say, I don't want to be with her. I just wanted to fuck. Because we don't care about relationships and marriages. Now, if you are very attractive, that means that man want to fuck you more. If you're not that attractive, that means he want to fuck you less. But either way, we're going to fuck. Just like poly relationship. You don't hear a man on this motherfucker talking about poly relationships isn't just about sex, it's about such and such and such and such. No, because we're just trying to fuck. Now we got two women in the house that we can fuck. In case one don't feel like giving it up, I can go to the next. And if we being real about it, poly relationships ain't nothing but cheating with permission. Why y'all think we glorify hoes more than we glorify good women? Because good women boring as fuck. But that one over there giving us that eye candy, oh, we're going to. And since we being real, most of y'all women are open book anyway. Like, come on, think about it. All men are fucking predators. And y'all the fucking prey.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? All men are predators, and us women are the prey. Simple as that. There is an artist, Justin Bieber. Of course, I mean, I know you know him. I didn't just say that too, although I don't know him. I know him, and I know you know him. That I heard that he was raped by some Hollywood people, aka, you know, the one that was recently on trial. Rhymes with duty. Anyway, so I heard that he was raped by that guy. I heard that Justin Bieber was raped by that guy. Right? And I'm noticing his current behavior, and it is just seems more and more unhinged and more um predatorial, right? Not predatorial, but crazed that he's kind of behaving like this guy, just unhinged, right? As though, and I hear how he behaves with his wife, and like he just hates her. But he doesn't just hate her because he's in a bad relationship. He hates her because she exists. That's what it seems like. Because the thing is that if it's a bad relationship, he could just leave the relationship. But it seems like he hates her that she exists. Because that is something that there is no solution for. Unless, except for one, right? Because if you hate somebody, why didn't you just leave them? And I started noticing not only the behavior, right? But the tattooing and the seeming more and more wild, like physically wild, not just behaviorally, but also physically with all the tattoos and unkemptness and all that. And it suddenly occurred to me that he no longer looks like a prey. Because when he was young, he was such a beautiful kid. He looked human. He looked human. Made me cry. He looked like a human being. And now he looks like a wild creature. And he acts like a wild creature. And it occurred to me that he's doing that on purpose. Before, he looked like prey, so he became prey. So he was in fact preyed upon. So now he made himself look less human, less prey, so that no one would prey on him. And I think that's what's going on. I think that's what's going on with him. Because in him is the understanding of what the prey looks like. And he looked too much like prey, right? So he's trying to become less like prey so that he doesn't become one. But the only reason he could look like prey was because he got prey genes. That's why they all look like us. They have our genes. So human is the prey, which means for you to be the predator, you cannot be human. That means that when you have the clear skin, the hairless look, right? The untattooed skin, hairless, unfurred. You look human, therefore you look like prey because their understanding of the phenotype of their prey is the human look. I mean, this is some world-making level type of stuff. But I don't really care how we got here. I mean, I figured all of that out. I figured all of it out. And it's going to take a monumental effort to make you understand all of this because it is some very, very deep stuff. But I don't really care how we got there. I only care about fixing the problem. And I need you to go back to the one level of magnitude of smarts that you have. You have that enough to know that you do not hang around your predator. Exactly like other animals know that. And so we need to make that a reality. We need to make that a permanent reality so that we no longer have to hang around our predators. That is the singular solution. You can drag this out for 5,000 more years, for 1.2 more million years, for another 500 billion years. The calculus will still be the same. You cannot hang around your prey. Excuse me, you cannot hang around your predator. You cannot hang around your predator. The calculus will be the same till eternity. But you might not. Let me repeat that. The reason you do not hang around your predator is because it is bad for your survival. Yeah? You might not. And if you continue to do so, you might not no longer be here. This is why you remove yourself, because the singular purpose of your entire manifestation, your entire corporeal, your entire biology is the singular pursuit of your survival. So even your thought processes are all geared towards helping you survive. Which is why when you clock predator behavior in somebody, you distance yourself subconsciously. That is an instinctive behavior. So it is entirely demonic for anyone, anything to demand that we have to be with these creatures. Any woman who's saying this, right, should be burned at the stake. They should be burned at the stake for saying we should marry them. Because that's the type of, that is the level of demonic that shit is. To say you must marry your predator. No, we need to send them packing to the hell they crawled out of. That is the only solution. That is the only acceptable solution.
We sit back and listen.
Let's go over that again. As it ferociously declares us, humans, the prey.
And then if we being real about it, poly relationships ain't nothing but cheating with permission. Why y'all think we glorify hoes more than we glorify good women? And since we being real, most of y'all women are open book anyway. Like, come on, think about it. All men are fucking predators. And y'all the fucking prey. We sit back.
All men, he says. All men, he says. If it is all men, what is the difference between men and women that men have in common with each other that they do not have in common with us women? And that singular answer is the Y chromosome. That means that all males actually are predators, which because the Y chromosome is the singular connection that is in them that is not in us. That means your sons an infant child, an infant son, an infant male child is a predator whose predatorialism has not been realized. It's a ticking time bomb, just like a lion cub is. That's what he's saying. Your infant sons will be predators. His predator genes are on a time release, exactly like puberty is on a time release, exactly like how human adulthood is on a timed release, exactly like how lion cub adulthood is on a time release, exactly like how lion cub predatory instincts are on a timed release. This is literally the formula that has been used for millions of years already. So for you to sit there and think, oh, you are so evil for doing it to an infant child. It's not a child, sweetie. It's not a child. That is not a child. That is a creature. That is a predator on the wait list, waiting to be released. Your infant son, your 2-year-old, your 6-year-old, your 10-year-old is a predator. That is what he's saying. Let's go over that again.
Hey, like, come on, think about it. All men are fucking predators, and y'all the fucking prey. We sit back and listen to
all men don't, on a day-to-day basis, act predatorial. And this was, I knew this when I made that conclusion, this very conclusion myself some years back, that based on what the root cause is, it is impossible for it to be some men. It just is not possible. Because the predatorialness is not dependent, reliant on behavior. It is reliant on genes. It is entirely reliant on genes. Ladies, that means that, yes, your child is actually inherently bad. Your husband is inherently bad. Your father is inherently bad. I don't care if he has the best father. That means that if you have been corrupted by any male genes, you have become inherently bad. It is not based on behavior. It is based on genes. So it is impossible that no man, that any man is good. Any man isn't bad. Anyone who has been corrupted with these genes is inherently bad. This is what he's saying. This is the inevitability of the reality that we are in. And it is only with that, with the reckoning of that, of what that truly means, are we ever going to heal? Are we ever going to turn a page to actually make things better? All that capitalism all the climate changes, all the food poisoning, hair poisoning, water poisoning, all the death, all the starvation, all the disease that spread in the human populations, they are all linked to this very problem. Every single one of them. They are all linked, directly or indirectly linked to this singular problem. We are dying in more than one way because of this present in our midst. We are dying in more than one way. The cancers that we experience is because of this. The only thing that has ever killed humans is this. When they tell you that you need a male to vary your genes in order for you to not go extinct, it's a damn lie. It's a damn lie. That would be like saying that it's better to have a grain of rice, right? Because you can have it now, right? Than to wait a little bit to get a bag of rice. A 5-pound bag of rice that could actually feed you. It's basically what that is saying. What the heck is a grain of rice going to do to a human body? Now, you, on your 1 order of magnitude of smarts, okay, you know that is a non-starter. But supposedly your genes are going to do that. They're going to buy that scenario. Your genius genes are going to buy the scenario that, yeah, I have a grain of rice right now. It's far better than the 5-pound bag of rice that I could get next month. Yeah. That's what they're saying. Should not have been next month. That I could get in 5 minutes. That I could get in 5 minutes. Yes. Yes, it will be exactly like that. They're saying, a bird in hand is better than 2 in the bushes. Right? Except the bushes are going to be 5 minutes from now. And boom. But they're saying, spend all your money on this 1 grain of rice that is in front of you right now, when you can get 5 pounds in 5 minutes. Yeah. Let me repeat that. There is not a single solution to this problem of males except one. Except one. If you're not on that solution, you are on the time-wasting, stupid solution. There is one singular solution. There is one solution. And we need to work together to make that solution happen. We need to work together to finally I've had enough of these males amongst us, these fucking creatures. We need to band together and actually fight for our species. Here's what this guy says in response to what the predator guy says.
All the shit y'all women be talking about, and we use it to. You really think you're gonna got titties and ass from the front? He's still trying to fuck people.
And now he just sounds like a cookie monster to me. But he is 100% correct. And that's why. And
He is 100% correct. Yeah. Humans are the predator, females. And males are, females are the prey. And males are the predators. Yeah. But here's what else it says.
And that's why men lose contact with their kids because as soon as he loses access to that woman's body, because all he wanted the whole time was her body and her labor. As soon as he doesn't have access to that anymore, there's no reason to communicate with the kids. There's no reason.
No, that is far too humanistic in terms. What is happening there is that the way a parasite reproduces, it reproduces and leaves its progeny to do their own thing. Its species doesn't have the care mode of surviving, right? Its progeny are not dependent on care. So he's able to just spread his seed and go his way. He's enacting his method, his real method of procreating. It is the woman it is the human species, the female, who has the care method of reproducing. That is why they abandon kids.
To keep ties with the woman.
But here's the thing, that this guy, he's male, so he knows what his species is. And he never actually tells us the truth, right? He's always on men's cases, but he never actually tells us the real truth as it actually is. He's still telling us the whitewashed version of the truth. So when he says men have he's 100% correct, right? But not that that all of that is correct, because the root cause of it is that there is a different species at play. There is a different species at play. He's not going to tell you all of that, because to him, it's unfathomable that this is on a genetic level. And the only reason your genes would enact a biological process of preying on you is because they are not genes. They're not your genes. They are another species genes. That is the only reason. Only reason. This is why when genes mutate too much, yeah, they actually break off into branches so that it is no longer the same family, the same species, the same whatever, right? This is why. Again, your genes are on a different level of genius that you could only dream of being. He's not going to tell us the entire truth of why this is, and he's going to tell us that I don't know if he's going to do that here because I haven't watched the entire video, but he often tells us that it's because of social conditioning. Social conditioning can never ever be this perfect where it's 100% correct. The only thing that can do that are genes, because they are on what? On a genius level by orders of magnitude of trillions and trillions and trillions of gajabillions. Gajatrillions, I don't even know what the word is supposed to be, right? That's the only thing that can get it 100% correct. Social conditioning could never be this perfect. This is why, even though we have an almost total social condition, total saturation of social conditioning of saying males are good, etc., that women still don't want to get married. If you go back to as far as any time in history, you find all the time women don't want to get married. Even though, culture on a cultural level, on a social level, they show women wanting to get married all the time. You will still find many women who refuse to get married. At every single period of time, you will find that. Social conditioning can never be perfect, but genes can be. So if he's saying 100% correct, it cannot be because men are socially conditioned to be this way. It's because they are genetically designed to be this way. But that's not what's actually important that he was about to say.
Designer writes, designs, and formats your entire ebook in minutes. No ghostwriters, no designers.
That's what it is. This man said it. I didn't look at his comments again. I should have. I was busy. I will guarantee you, there wasn't no man in there calling him a simp or a pander. I promise you. It's the if you lace the truth.
What did you say?
There wasn't no man in there calling him a simp or a pander.
He's saying there's no man in the comments who was calling him a pimp or a simp. Which means that they agree with what he's saying. And this is what I found in my research as well. Every single time when they're talking about relationships, when they're talking about, what they want from women, right? There are two instances when those things are happening. It's an instant where they are talking about it with women, and instances where they're talking about it amongst each other. And 100% of the time, when they're talking about it with women, they're using terms like love, partnership, etc. You can see those. It's not always are they using those, right? But you can see them often enough to think, oh wow, males just want love. But on the flip side, amongst themselves, when they don't think women are lurking about, they never, ever, ever talk about love. And I find that very peculiar. I started becoming very, very, very observant about the little things, the granular things that are saying so much. They never, 100% of the time, use love. 0% of the time have they ever used love. 0. These men, none of them can love you. Not one of them is seeking love. You are the prey, point blank, period. You are the prey. You are only the prey. That's it. And I can't tell you how many men I've spoken to where they tell me too, well, it's about love, what it's about this. But when I research them, hundreds in the comments, I have gone to hundreds of such videos, hundreds of them, and read hundreds of each comments under one particular video. So I have done this hundreds of times and read hundreds of comments, and not a single time is love ever mentioned. Not once. They are not looking for love. They're looking for a prey. They cannot love because they're not human. Love is a human feature. Love is human biology. That is not their biology. That would be like me, a woman, right? Pretending to be, like in one of those many areas where women have to pretend to be male in order to survive, right? But then I go into female spaces, right? And then I say, you know, I peed with my penis, right? I could never make a mistake like that. But I can make that mistake in the male, when I'm talking to males, of saying how I really pee, right? Of saying how I really pee. That is not how males pee. But in the female spaces, I can never make the mistake of, saying the wrong thing, because that is real truth. That is what's happening. In their own spaces, they never make the mistake of talking about love. They never make the mistake of thinking this is a love thing. They are not confused. We are. They are not confused. Not a single one of them is confused. Even the best men that you could talk about, the best men you could find, they are not confused about what this is. They have never, ever, ever been confused that this is a love thing. When they go to Reddit, they talk about how I love my wife. But I did my own research. And in their space, they never talk about love. 0 times. Literally 0 times. Have they said, I had a woman, I love her so much. No. That has never, ever, ever occurred. 0%. Zero times. They are not confused. You are. And you are confused only because they have purposely confused us. And it's not just you. I was confused too. I was confused too. But I kept asking questions. I kept using basic logic, figure out if what I'm thinking, if what the issue is even what the issue is. If what, like for instance, when there is social discourse, I would use basic logic to clear the first level of test to see who is on the right side and who is on the wrong side. And I knew enough to know this. Whatever it is that you were talking about, it must align with logic or it is a failure. And then and only then, when it aligns with logic, do I even bother myself to even go further into it. If it ever fails the first logical test, I already know who is wrong. I already know who is in the wrong. These males, in their space, never talk about love. They have never been in love with you. Not even the great dad will tell you they love their daughters. Not the great dads who tell you they love their sons. They are not confused, but they are definitely the author of confusion.